Students, your topic for today is definition of consumer, definition of complaint, definition of complainant, definition of defect, definition of deficiency, and definition of consumer dispute. So let's start with who is a consumer. So according to section 2 clause 1 clause subclause D of the act, a consumer is a person who purchases any goods or services or hires or avails the services of some person for his own personal use and not for manufacturing or resale of that good. For example, a person purchasing wheat flour for his own personal use is a consumer, but a person purchasing wheat flour for baking bread, which he is going to sell in his factory, a bakery shape, is not a consumer. Then comes the complaint. So, according to section 2, clause 1, subclause C, any allegation that is made by the consumer regarding any restrictive or unfair trade practice which the traders have adopted, such as goods bought by a consumer and are defective, services hired or availed by him suffers some deficiency, traders has charged an excessive price of the goods mentioned in the complaint, good or services which are hazardous to the life and property of the consumer, has been offered for sale to the public by the trader or the service provider. Then what is a consumer dispute? So according to section 21E of the act, it is the situation when a person denies the allegation that is filed against him in complaint. Then comes the definition of deficiency in service. So deficiency means any fault or imperfection or shortcomings or inadequacy in the quality, nature and manner of performance which is required to be maintained by or under any law for the time being in force, or which has been undertaken to be performed by a person in pursuance of a contract or otherwise in relation to any service, and it includes any act of negligence or omission or commission by such person which causes loss or injury to the consumer. Second, deliberate withholding of relevant information by such person to the consumer. So for example, if you have hired a mechanic to refill your bike's mobile oil and he negligently uses petrol instead of mobile oil, that will be called a deficiency in service. Basically, if you face a loss directly because of the acts of the individual whose service you hired, then it can be labeled as a deficiency in service. Now, who is a complainant? So, complainant means a consumer or any voluntary consumer association registered under the Companies Act or under any other law for the time being in force, the central government or any state government who or which makes a complaint, one or more consumers where there are numerous consumers arriving the same interest. So, this is what complainant is. Then comes the consumer that we have already discussed. Consumer disputes also we have discussed. Now, who is a defect? So defect is any fault, imperfection or shortcoming in the quality, quantity, potency, purity or standard which is required to be maintained by or under any law for the time being in force, or under any contract express or implied, or as is claimed by the trader in any manner whatsoever in relation to any goods. That's all for today. Thank you so much.